kind of went over the title. The hop to it part is like, just hop to it, let's get to it. Well, that sounds real easy and everything, but we know that caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia can be extremely difficult. The idea of hop to it would be our mindset, more so than hop to doing it and it becoming very easy. As Ellen said, I am a nurse, and she kind of went over some of the stuff that I've done in my lifetime. I'm 72 and I've been a nurse for 49 years. And as Ellen said, and of those 49 years, 35 of those years was as a home health nurse. So I've pretty much seen just about anything you can in a patient's home, any type of disease or condition or levels of dementia and caregiving also. Also, my years as a volunteer for Alzheimer's has broadened my knowledge of the challenges that are involved in the caring of someone with dementia or Alzheimer's. And throughout this talk, I'll throw around the dementia or Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's becomes a catch-all name, kind of like a Kleenex, might be a Scott tissue, but we still tend to call it a Kleenex. We give Alzheimer's the name to just about all of our dementias that are around there. But as we know, there are many different types of dementia, and they exhibit themselves in different ways. But as far as dementia and the loss of short-term memory, they pretty much be close to each other. So today, if I throw around dementia or Alzheimer's, I want you to know that I'm involving all dementias. Also, my years with Alzheimer's services has enabled me to see so much of this through the programs that they've put on and participating or being able to be part of them. Why do I tell you all of this? I tell you all of this because all of these years of experience, I can't come up with any one clear thing that is going to work each time, every day with a person with dementia. And I just use that as an example that all through these years, it's not changing, hold on guys. I'm sorry, y'all. So I'll continue on. As you well know, though, if you've taken care of different family members or other people, you know the differences in what applies and what doesn't, and how easy something might be and how difficult something else may be. Yeah, there we go. Sorry guys, I have my own copy here. There are no simple answers. One great technique in providing care for someone, there's just not one technique on taking care of someone with dementia. Are there things that work? Yes. Are there things that don't work? Yes. It's a trial and error period in which we have to have time and patience. And this is part of all of it, especially when we care for one of our loved ones. We have to go back and remember everything they've done for us through our lives to be able to put it in perspective of being able to care for them. What are the ADLs? There are activities of daily living. They're what we do from the time we wake up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night. This applies to everyone. Our activities are what makes us who we are, who we care for ourselves, our jobs, our social lives, anything. Just our actually getting up and walking to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee is an activity of daily living. It is what we do each day in our lives. How important are they? Very important. And when we lose any one of those activities, when we are not able to provide them for ourselves or for our loved ones, then that's when we really have an issue. And so this is what happens with our dementia loved ones. The ABCs, when Ellen and I came up with this, I tried to think, ABCs makes it simple. It sounds elementary, childlike, but we know that it's really not. Our A's could be under our attitude. What is our attitude in caring for our loved one? Is it a good attitude? Is it bad? Are we bitter? Are we jealous? Are we having issues with other family members in providing this care? So that could be with one of our things is that we need to look at is our attitude. Attentive. Are we attentive to the needs and the care of the loved one that we're taking care of and to everyone else around us? Let's say we're taking care of our mom. Are we attentive to our dad, who is part of all of this and looks at it every day? So that's one thing we have to look at. Are we affectionate? Are we kind and loving to this person we're caring for? Are we active in their lives? Are we providing activity for them? Are we accepting this plight in our life at this point in time in our lives? Most of the people that care for loved ones, usually their children are grown. It's their years of golden years. It could be a 40 to a 60-year-old who belongs to that sandwich generation that's taking care of their family and they're having to take care of one of their parents or their spouse. Under the B's, it's behavior. Your behavior and their behavior. Where are we with that? What type behavior are they exhibiting and what type behavior am I exhibiting? What am I showing them? What am I coming off to them? Am I scaring them? Am I providing an idea that, hey, this person loves me, it's going to take care of me? This is what we want. Is it beneficial to me to have this happening to me in my life and at this time? The benefit of it is, I will tell you, in my family, we cared for my mom. She lived with me for 22 years. Of the last 10 years of her life, she really was diagnosed with Alzheimer's maybe the last 7 years of her life. But prior to those 3 years prior to that, she became very paranoid, very scared to stay alone. I was ignorant and I didn't know what in the world was going on. She had wanted to come with my husband and I everywhere we met. My children were grown. They were in high school and college. So my husband and I had some time to do things that we've always wanted to do. I always had my mom with me. I was one of 8 children, and they helped tremendously. I couldn't have done it without them. But if for some reason we went out with friends, my mom was there. I can remember sitting at a table in a restaurant, her falling asleep in a chair with us, and it just wasn't right. It wasn't fair to her. It wasn't fair to me. So I had to address that. And what we did is I found a high school guy who stayed in the den while she was in her bedroom and she felt safe. She just wanted someone around her. Where the benefit came in is that we pulled our children into her care and we showed them that this is what you do. You take care of your loved ones. This is what you do because I want them to take care of me. So I have to set that example. So that's where the benefit comes in. You may want to argue with that sometimes. Big-hearted. Am I a big-hearted person? Do I see the whole picture of what's going on here? Can I give my heart to this person I love and to my other family members that I have to care for and provide care for? Under the C's, am I compassionate, concerned, considerate, caring, constructive in my criticism or in my instructions instead of destructive? And do I have a calming connection with them? That calming connection can get you so far that because this is what they need for you to be calm and not be rattled and upset and angry in front of them, because it is very frightening to them and they will just recoil and not participate in their care. Activities of daily living. What are they? They're bathing, personal hygiene and grooming, dressing and undressing, toileting, continence, related tasks, including control and hygiene, eating, meal preparation, eating themselves, what they're eating, are they able to feed themselves or do you have to feed them? Transferring, movement and mobility, moving around, that is an activity of daily living. And social activities, what can they do? What should I expose them to? One of the things we want to remember always in all of this and anything we do with our loved ones with dementia is to be proactive rather than reactive. If we sit there and we know that they are unsafe in the home by themselves, we have to be proactive and figure out what we're going to do. And this scares most people because something has to change. Their lives have changed, your life is changing. And if it means someone sitting in the home with them, them moving in with you, whatever it is that they have to do, this is very important. We want to catch the fall before the fall happens. We want to catch the choking before they actually choke and aspirate. Those are the kind of things that are being proactive rather than reactive. Driving a vehicle, oh my God, would you put your children in the car with them and let them drive them? It's a big sign. Did you get in the car with them driving you? Well, then what would make you think that anyone on the road wants you to put them on the road when they're on the same street they're on? So this is how we have to think. This is what we can do in being proactive. Allowing our loved ones as much control and independence as possible. They still have feelings. They still are aware, maybe at certain stages in this whole deal. They can be embarrassed. They can be upset. They know they're pulling on you, and you're doing this for them. So we want to give them the privacy and respect that they deserve. One thing we have to do is assess our loved ones. Where are they cognitively? Are they in 1950? Are they in the 2000s? Exactly where are they? We'll talk about stages, and how that applies, but this is where we need to look at these stages, is where are they and how we perceive what they can do, can't do, how they perceive us and who we are. Like in the stages of dementia, say the mild stages, they're able to stay in their home by themselves with some assistance, some instructions, and reminders. I'd be calling them on the phone. Mom, hey, time to take your medicine, get your medicine out. Hey, Mom, I left something in the refrigerator for you for lunch. Those kind of things are fine. When you get to their house and they have the same clothes on they had the day before, then you realize that maybe this is not working, okay? Or that the food is 6, 7, 8 days old and all expired, or the same food you left is still there and it hadn't been eaten. Those are things that can make you proactive rather than reactive. Moderate stage, able to participate in the care, but requires assistance, reminders and instructions, safety and adaptive equipment. Home health may be an option. We need to look at what's going on at that stage. Severe, total assistance, usually bed or chair ridden, and this is total care. Of all the ADLs, which ones are the most important? And of course, it would be food, fluid intake, bodily functions, and our hygiene. And this is what we're going to talk about first. We have to be aware of what is going on. If they can't remember if they ate and what they ate, and you question them and you want to do it constructively, hey, Mom, Dad, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Why do you ask me? Usually it'll start with anger or whatever. So wherever we can find a way to find these things out, we need to, without grilling them and embarrassing them, because that's easy to do. Bathing. Ellen said that she had a lot of people that have called and questioned, what's the right way to get them to take a bath? What's the right way to get them in a shower? They don't want to do that. They want to stay in the same clothes. They don't want to get up. Well, this is when they need help, and bathing can be very difficult. When you develop dementia, some of that paranoia and fear is of water and falling. And the bathroom means that. And I can promise you that if they're in the early stages and they're afraid to take a shower or anything in the bathroom, they've had an experience of a near fall or a fall. And this is what they're afraid of. So you can question them and just say, well, tell me, Mom, why is it? Why do you not want to bathe? I can help you with that. I don't need you to help me. Well, I think I do need to help you. And if you let me help you, I think it'll make it so much better if you let me do this. So we want to start with the idea of exactly where they are cognitively. Back to that we can't provide any care if we don't know where they are in this disease. Maintaining a routine if possible. Let's say prior to developing dementia, they were retired for many years. They developed a routine. They knew what they were doing. They may be a morning person. They may be an evening person. They may have become a person that stayed up all night and slept all morning, or an early to go to bed and early to rise person. So we want to remember what their routines were and copy it as much as we can. One of the biggest things is that morning and all the way up to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon is our most important time to get our loved ones to do things because of sundowning. Once sundowning starts, they very seldom ever want to participate in very much. They pace, they walk, they're fearful, they can be even hallucinating, any of these things. So morning is our most important time to get things done. Some people like to shower them at night, and that might be when you're off work, able to go by their home and help them. We'll just have to see how that goes. But morning is a much better time to be able to do this. Have the bathroom ready. The temperature in the bathroom has to be set before you get them up and put them in the bathroom. The temperature of the water. Their clothes in the bathroom if you're able to. Their towels where they can be easily reached. And I'll suggest 2 washcloths, and we'll talk about that in a little while. We want to have clothing that is easy to put on and easy to take off. This is where elastic waistbands come in. Button shirts are fine with someone, unless they want to do it themselves and they're not able to. You have to find a way to be able to help them. Or you can take and put Velcro where the buttons are and just show them how to push it on back. We want them to participate as much as possible. We don't want to sit there, jerk, do everything and rush them. Even you're just gonna have to find the time and the patience. Knit clothes, spandex is a wonderful thing. Yoga pants, anything that you can pull up and pull down. You've got to assess the situation on the top, whether a knit top is more comfortable, might be warmer for them or whatever. You have to decide, is it better for them slipping over the head and then the arms, but remember they're gonna have to get their arms kind of like this into the sleeves, or is it better to do the sleeves first and then slip the shirt over their head? You have to see which one they can participate in the most and doesn't scare them. Because when you pull something over their head, they can become very frightened by that and not understand exactly what you're doing. Have ample time to accomplish this. Whoever is providing the care, they need to understand that this is not going to be easy. But once you develop that routine, it becomes easier, and they understand if they're at that level. Don't rush them. Explain what you are doing. Imagine being in a foreign country in the moderate to later stages. You don't speak the language and you don't know who in the world this human being is that is asking you to get butt naked and jump in a shower. Can you imagine doing that in a country? Well, this is where some of them are. But the one thing that people understand in every country is kindness, affection, and time. So if we're able to do this with them, even though they may not know who we are, if we sit there and we start, while they're sitting in their chair, and start rubbing their hand and rubbing their shoulders and saying, hey mom, look, I wanted to tell you, we're gonna take a shower today. It is gonna be so much fun. It is gonna feel so good. You are gonna love that warm water on your arms and your legs and your shoulders and everything. So we're coaxing them. We're encouraging them with kindness and affection all at the same time. What is the saying? I forgot. You catch more bees with honey than you do anything else. So we want to be sure that we're trying to do this. If they have a difficulty, no, I'm not bathing, not showering today. Well, let's say they haven't showered in 2 days and they're beginning to smell. Well, we know we need to do it. So we're going to have to continue to try a little bit harder. And so let's say they won't get out of the chair. I remember we had a therapist in home health who was precious. She was good looking. The little old ladies just loved him to death. And Mrs. Smith wouldn't get out of the chair for him to do therapy. So he sat there and he rubbed her hand. She was just loving it. And he said, Miss Smith, he said, you like to dance? She said, oh, I love to dance. He said, well, come on, dance with me. They danced all the way around the house, and this is how we did therapy. You know, so we have to find what it is that works. We have to be creative. Even though we're aggravated, even though we're short, you know, we want to go, excuse me, like, I have time for this. Like, hello, gotta go to work. The boys have a ball game, you know, I gotta get home, cook supper. We've got to find a way, because then we're just going to sit there for 30 minutes trying to get him out of the chair. You know, so we spend more time, or, you know, not doing it maybe right, you know. Okay, so explain what you're doing when you get them in the bathroom. Take short instructions, simple instructions. Look, Mom, look, I got this bench for you to sit on. This is going to be so much easier. We're going to talk about adaptive equipment later, but if you get, you have to be really careful on what piece of equipment you get and where they are with their disease. I would suggest home health. It's with a doctor's order, insurance covers it, and you can have therapy come out and assess the situation, assess the patient, see what their needs are and what they qualify for. And they can help you with that bathroom and modifying it. Let them participate. The reason for the 2 washcloths is if, let's say you have the shower going or the bath water running to the faucet. We're not going to put them in a tub. If you put them down in the tub, you're not going to be able to get them out. You end up having to call the fire department or call someone to come where they'll be embarrassed and everything else. So the days of the bathtub is probably gone. And a safer way would be a tub chair or a transfer tub bench that extends over the side of the tub if it's a tub shower, or the shower chair in a walk-in shower, which would be preferable. But a lot of people have just a tub shower, and that's when that transfer tub bench comes, where it goes over the side of the tub. They sit and slide over. Because sometimes they don't have the dexterity to be able to lift a foot up and go into the tub and then lift the other foot. It becomes a fall hazard because that foot can linger and hang on and hook on the side of the tub, causing a fall. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna let them participate in the best and most they can. The 2 washcloths are, while they're bathing their front with the washcloth, you're doing their back, their legs. They're just sitting there like this, and they're participating, and it gives them a feeling of that accomplishment, that they're doing something. And the other thing is, if they're not able to do that, there's a hand over hand. You could take the washcloth and then their hand, and then another, your hand on top of their hand, guiding their hand while they're doing it. And all of this is movement and exercise for them. So we want them to be able to do as much as they can and participate as much as they can. Also, we want to provide privacy for them. They may not know, again, who you are. So we want to maybe put a towel over their shoulders, may let them feel like they're covered some while you do their legs or whatever, or a towel over their lap to protect and keep them where they feel like they have some privacy. Remember, it's respect for them. While you're doing it, have them smell the shampoos, the lotions, and the soap. This will bring back memories possibly, plus it's very soothing to them. And you talk to them the whole entire time. You know, hey, I'm going to wash your hair. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to work on it today. You know, Tommy might come over today, and I want you to look so pretty for him, or whatever. Anything that we can do to cajole them, make them feel comfortable and at ease. Dress the upper body after you bathe them, dry it off, and dress the upper body while they're still sitting on the bench. You know, put the clothes on, let them apply their deodorant, let them help, let them participate in the dressing. And that's why you want to have the clothes in the same room that are reachable. If you don't have everything where you can hand reach it, then you have to leave them on the bench by themselves. You have to turn your back. The next thing you know, they're going to try to get off the bench. They're going to try to get out of the bathtub, you know, or whatever, and then you'll have them fall. Let them comb their hair, let them participate in this. And if they're not able to, then do the hand over hand, because again, we want that movement from them. This is all not to be self-serving for ourselves. This is all about them. Shaving, you're going to have to assess their ability to be able to shave. And probably you would want, if you're a female caregiver, you probably might want a male family member or someone to do that. If they're able to shave themselves, I would suggest an electric razor. They're safer. We have to find out if they're on blood thinners at that age, and that's that situation, and see what you can do. And home health can help with that and provide an aid if that's a difficult part. Also, brushing their teeth. This is something, it's amazing how they forget what a toothbrush is. My mother would sit there and hold it in her hand and stare at it. And I know in her mind, or what was left of it, she was thinking, there is something, I remember this. I know, I remember this, or something. So what we want to do is we want to show them by brushing our teeth or hand over hand again, let them apply their own toothpaste or whatever and see if that helps. And an adaptive toothbrush with a thick handle that's easy to grip is something I suggest. Their grip is going to be less than it used to be, so they're going to easily drop things. And a large handle, you can make your own with foam and tape if you want to, or you can order those online. But we want to keep it with simple instructions. The toothpaste on, now let's put it in our mouth and just slide it across, back and forth. If they get their teeth really well, that doesn't matter a whole lot. They're not doing the up and down motion like we teach our children to do. If they're not maybe getting all of it and you feel like it, just say, oh, let me help you here. And you can kind of get to the back teeth a little bit and that kind of stuff, okay? Skin care. This is extremely important in the elderly. As we age, we lose the oils, the natural oils in our skin, and our skin becomes extremely dry. Well, in someone who's not active, who may not be rinsing soap off quite like they should be, their skin becomes extremely dry, can crack, and in some situations, if they have swelling, heart issues or whatever, the skin can actually crack and form sores. So we want to prevent any of this from happening. The lotions that we should use should be more of a cream than a lotion. Lotions tend to have a lot of alcohol and water in them. They might be, for the moment, moisturize the skin, but they really don't. Things like CeraVe, Cetaphil, Aquaphor, those are just a few of the names where you can buy the creams, and they provide the things that we have lost in our skin that take away that moisture, and they're much better. So I would suggest finding one of those if they have dry skin, especially. And a lot of people now, dermatologists are recommending when the skin is still damp, that's a great time to apply these lotions and creams. The skin absorbs them, they slide easier on, and you don't have to use as much. Cologne and perfume, maybe something they always had on. So I would let them smell it before, let them apply it if they can, and if not, then apply it more. Talk about it. Mama, oh, I know, Mama, you always smell so good with this cologne on. Or Dad, I tell you what, Mom always loved you with that cologne. Anything to encourage them, bring back memories, or whatever is what we want to do. Adaptive equipment. This is something, as I said, home health can help with. Because you need to know exactly, because you don't want to spend the money on some product that is going to last a week, and then the condition changes and it's, you wasted that, or whatever. So home health can help you with that. Most bathroom equipment is not paid for by insurance, Medicare or any of the Advantage products or private insurances. They consider those luxury items. So things like tub chairs, tub benches, transfer tub bench, those are not covered by insurance, but they are needed. Usually, last I checked, they were probably anywhere from $75 to $100. I would suggest you get the transfer tub bench because eventually you're going to get to it anyway. So why spend the money on just a simple little tub chair, which would cost about $50, when you're going to eventually have to go probably to the transfer tub bench. But that would be something a therapist can help you with, assess their ability to be able to get into the tub safely and get out of the tub safely. Also, a handheld shower is a good item to have. But again, we've got to remember that fear of water. When water is coming straight out, definitely not the shower in their face. So that's where the handheld shower would come in. You could just let them feel it with their hands, let them put it in their hand, let them spray themselves if they want, being very careful to avoid the water on the floor, not because it's a mess, but because it becomes a fall issue. Some people would prefer a container, a piece of Tupperware, a butter dish tub or whatever with warm water poured on them rather than sprayed. So you kind of, again, have to assess that situation and what works best for them. I remember when my grandchildren were little, I'd gone to Babies R Us, and they had a pitcher that had a rubber lip on it. And what you did is you put it right here, they bent their head back, and it made sure that the water didn't come in the face, and it worked great for them. And that, even if you have to go to Babies R Us or look for that online, I would suggest that if the water in their face is fearful to them. A back scrubber, they can do it themselves. That's a wonderful, like a toy for them, because they're participating and they're doing the exercise. Non-slip strips in the tub or the shower are a mat, rubber mat in the bottom. And I would do that, not today, yesterday. That is a definite proactive rather than reactive. They may walk about it. And I'll tell you another little hint I always give my mom. The doctor said you had to have this. Blame him for everything. Usually they remember who their doctor is and they love them to death. So if you say, well, the doctor said, can't drive anymore. The doctor said, it's better than you saying it, because they will take it out on you. Let them take it out on the doctor when they see it. Grab bars, very, very important. And the placement of those grab bars, again, is very important. And this is when home health can help you. When my mom needed a grab bar in the tub, we were just going to put it straight across on the side, on the left side. And when the therapist came, he said, no, let's put it at a slant. So when she goes to sit, she's standing, and then she goes to sit, her hand slides down and she sits. And she goes to get up, hand starts low, goes back to us. Who'd have thought? But anyway, so that's a good idea to get them to come to strategically place those bars where they are most needed. Again, grab bars are not covered by insurance, a luxury item. An adaptive toothbrush we spoke about earlier. Dressing. That can be difficult because we want them to continue to participate in this. This is important. Maybe your mom loved how she dressed and loved her clothes and looking classy. And my mother loved to get dressed, loved to fix herself up, loved her jewelry and everything. So that was important to her. So what we want to do is give them, again, as much independence and input as they possibly can. If they're able to go to their closet and pick things out, then that's great. The one thing we have to watch, sometimes their temperature of the body might not be exactly what everyone else's is. So we have to be sure the clothes and the weight of the clothes are appropriate to the season and the temperature. They can overdress. You might find them in a sweatshirt and it's 99 degrees outside, but they won't let you put the air conditioner on. So we have to watch that, and for the other people who live in the home. So we want to be sure that the clothes are appropriate to the temperature inside and out. If they're not able to pick from their closet, I would suggest you pick 2 outfits, have them on their bed, and let them pick one of the 2. Again, giving them that independence to be able to be participating in their clothes. You know, and if they can't pick between the 2, go, look at this one, Mom, this was great. Look at this, you look so pretty in yellow. You know, anything we can do to make them feel good and comfortable. Emphasize comfort over appearance. This is most important. Even though they might want to wear the red suit with the buttoned up blazer, like my mother always wanted to put on, we sometimes have to steer them in another direction. Again, elastic waist pants. Velcro, easy fasteners, whatever we can do to make it good for them and for ourselves. Buy clothing possibly a size larger to make it easier to put on. You know, we like things that fit us, that don't drown us or whatever. But sometimes one size up may help, and especially putting those things overhead. Allow your loved one to participate as much as possible, and this can vary from day to day. On Monday, they may have been able to do all this. They may have been able to button some buttons, but on Wednesday, they can't do it anymore. They're not doing it on purpose. When we feel like they're doing this on purpose, then we have to step back. We have to ask ourselves, are they asking us to do this? They actually want us to take them in a bathroom, strip them of their decency, their modesty, their privacy, and everything else. No. So if they can do it one day and they can't do it the next day, I promise you they're not doing this on purpose. So remember that when you're caring for them. Provide clear instructions always, one step at a time. Give me one leg. Oh, another thing, back to that bathing, I want to tell you, if we do the upper body on the bench, then slide the legs over to the other side, dry their legs in between their toes because moisture can sit there causing cracked skin and everything, drying their legs and everything, applying the lotion. If they're not able to, they can do the upper leg, maybe possibly while you're doing the lower leg. But put the pants, the underwear on, have it wear. When you stand them up, all you have to do is dry the bottom area and stand up and pull it all up and you're done. Shoes are on, socks are on, pants are on, panties, underwear, whatever. It's all done in all one fell swoop. And that will help tremendously. Now, all of this is provided they're cooperating with you. And they're letting you participate and they are participating. So, and if they're not, they went back up, rewind the thing and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Let's see. And again, those short instructions will help us tremendously. Toileting. This one's a hard one. This is why the majority of people between vision and toileting, people go to nursing homes. So we know this is one of the most difficult ones. We have to assess continence versus incontinence. What is happening here? Why is mom wet, you know, in the morning or whatever? That's when we first see it. Possibly when they sleep at night, when they're relaxed and sleeping in the bladder. It's because the brain is not telling the bladder what to do, not telling them what to do, let alone the bladder. So this is what we need to assess. Again, be proactive. Urine on the skin is extremely caustic and can cause rashes. Just as a baby's behind, so is our skin if something is continually on there. So we want to assess that situation and see what's going on. The ability for them to be able to remove their clothing to get to the bathroom is important. Again, it's elastic waist pants. But we have to remember that in Alzheimer's and sometimes Parkinson's goes with it, whichever comes first, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. But they can develop this shuffled gait where their feet are just not even, they touch the floor the entire time. There's no picking up of the foot at all. So they can't maneuver the change in the level of the flooring, from hard flooring to carpeting, to rugs, to bath mats, to all of that. Those become hazards. So this is where they have that shuffling gait, need to be assessed as someone helping them. This is when you may see they need assistance. They're not going to make it to the bathroom if they're having to do that shuffling and they know they got to go in, they hurry in, and they pee in the whole way on themselves and everything. They finally get to the toilet and they don't get to go. You know, this is what we want to try to help with. I remember my mom, we would be bringing her to the bathroom, we'd be starting to pull her pants down, pour it all in on the way there, you know, and she'd go, I gotta go, and she knew. But then there'll become a time when they won't go. So this is what we want to watch for. Fluid intake. I cannot stress it enough in the elderly. And this is anyone who is not mobile. Fluid intake is very important. It can cause dehydration. It causes urinary tract infections. They're very prone to urinary tract infections. I can tell you, I had a neighbor who took care of her mother in her home, and she would call me and tell me, my mom is just going bananas all of a sudden. I said, Frida, call the doctor, get a urine specimen and take it to the doctor. I'll lay you a bet she has a urinary tract infection. Sure enough, she did. So that immediate change in behavior can be a urinary tract infection. So be alert and aware of that. Again, when they go to the bathroom, we want to observe the urine, the color and the smell. Because if the urine is amber color and dark, then we know the fluid intake is not adequate. The smell is strong. Again, we know the fluid intake is not strong, is not enough. So these are telltale signs for us. When they're living alone, then they, we have to find something else that tells us that it's usually a urinary tract infection. Trip to the hospital emergency room. Watch for the signs that they urinate. When they urinate, they could grimace. It looks like it's painful to urinate. A telltale sign of a urinary tract infection. Watch for that. Also, they develop a neurogenic bladder. This is where the brain is not telling the bladder to go. So what happens in this, they go to the bathroom and they only urinate a small amount. Then they get up, they go back in the chair, and they tell you they have to go back again. Usually that's a neurogenic bladder. Neurogenic bladders can cause urinary tract infections also. So what I would suggest you do when you bring them to the toilet, let them sit for a while longer. After they've urinated, run water in the sink, do whatever you have to do. I'll lay you money, they'll probably get into their bladder a little bit more. And it'll help you in the long run because you don't have to go get them in the chair and bring them back again. So this is kind of what you can do for that. Bowel movements, developing a bowel protocol. One thing you have to do is kind of go back and remember what they talked about that made their bowels move. Is it coffee, is it grapes, is it fruit, or whatever? Try to incorporate that in their diet. Metamucil, Miralax, stool softeners are excellent things to take, but we have to watch. Developing things like loose stools or diarrhea. Nobody wants to talk about it, but sometimes you could have an impaction above high and the liquid stool just moves around it. You end up with bowel obstruction and you end up with surgery. So we have to know what their bowels are doing on a daily basis. You don't have to have a bowel movement every day, but at least every other day they should. By about the third day, then you're going to have to give them something. So, and how are you going to know that if they live alone? Not easy, but if you do have someone with them or you're with them or their spouse or whatever, have them start a notebook. Like today, at this time, whatever. That would help a whole lot. Making sure they can pass gas, because usually with a bowel obstruction, you're not able to pass gas. So that's one thing you want to look for there also. They may need assistance to find the bathroom. They have to put out night lights. They have to put motion sensors where lights come on when they get up and move if they're living alone at home. Remove throw rugs, as I said, pick up bath mats, and adaptive supplies for incontinence. You can start with a small pad all the way to the thickness of a Depends brand or any other off-brand of a thick curved pad inside their underwear. It's a good thing. And then again, our ways you can go to the Depends, the pull-ups, or decide which is better, the tapes or whatever. So you look at those. A plastic pad underneath the sheet. Do not put plastic against their skin. It makes moisture, it makes skin breakdown. It's just not good at all. So put them underneath the sheet, one sheet itself. We had from my mom a pad that had cloth on top, plastic underneath. We could put that against her. Blue pads, no. They might pile them up in a hospital and you'll see them and you'll think, oh yeah, oh no. They form a lot of moisture and sweat and cause skin breakdown. If you're going to use the blue pads, I would suggest you put a sheet over it, a thin layer of a sheet over it so that the blue pad is not causing that moisture. A bedside commode is a piece of adaptive equipment paid for by insurance. It comes with the arms and a pot underneath it, and it's called a 3-in-1. And you can put the chair next to their chair if they're alone, where they can't make it to the bathroom, with the pot in, always remember the pot in, or take the pot out, put it over the toilet, and it becomes a raised toilet seat, and it gives them the 2 arms to push themselves up. Or take the pot out, and it can fit in a large shower. or a tub. It's kind of a big piece of equipment. Some people have a little trouble with it being in there, but it can be, and that's why it's called a 3-in-1, and it is covered by insurance. Eating and meal preparation. The diet is very important. We need extra tissue, we need extra fat on their bodies to protect their skin. Assess the ability for them to be able to prepare a meal, whether they can feed themselves or you have to feed them. If they live alone, check that refrigerator always for expired food, old food, or whatever, and the pantry also. Leave foods that are easy for them to fix. Microwavable, add water, stir, whatever, any of those things, or sandwich stuff, or something that's easy for them to be. Again, remember the larger meals need to be breakfast and lunch, because in the evenings, they may have sundowning and may not want to eat. You can make milkshakes, use blenders, sorry y'all. You know, and remembering the 8 glasses of liquids per day, that's 8 8-ounce glasses a day. If they're not eating large meals at breakfast and lunch, you may want to offer small meals several times a day, 4 to 6 times a day. They may finish that and may, you know, think she'll leave me alone if I eat this real quick. Sometimes offer only a couple ounces of liquid and say, here, Mom, drink this for me, okay? Dr. Smith said you need to drink plenty, okay? And they'll say, okay, let me drink this. And they'll drink that real quick, fill it up with another 2 ounces for the next time. Constant reminders with kindness and participation from them. Again, do not rush them. Make mealtime pleasant. Let them feed themselves as much as possible. Finger foods work great. You may have to cut them because they may have lost that ability to remember to bite down on a piece like a French fry or a chicken tender or something. Give them a big old chicken tender, the next thing you know, it's all in their mouth. This gives them control, makes them feel good and independent about it all. Simple instructions and let them watch you. You pick up the French fry and bite it. You pick up the chicken tender. You pick up the green bean. We're not here for manners. And Mrs. Manners, you know, we're not here for her. We're here for getting food in them safely. That's what we're here for. Avoid choking at all costs and pocketing of food. One thing we want to remember, we never come from a position of power over them. When we are speaking to our loved one, we sit in a chair. We are eye level with them. If we're sitting there and we need them to do something and we need to talk to them. So when we feed them, if we come from the power, the position of feeding them from up here to down there, the first thing they're going to do is lift their head back, open the trachea straight to the lungs, and you will sit there and they will choke. It will get into their lungs. They will end up with pneumonia and in the hospital. And avoid this very much so. So we want the chin tucked. We want to be eye level when we help to feed them or they feed themselves. Liquids, if they start this when they're drinking liquids, get rid of straws too. That's another thing. No straws. Take them out. You may think that's easy and they drink more with a straw. A straw shoots the liquid to the back of their throat. And before the brain is telling them, you got to swallow this, they're choking. So I just say, get rid of straws. Put a sign above their chair or whatever for every family member that comes in. No straws, or just take them out of the house. You know, you got to kind of assess that too. In the mild stages, the early stages, you know, a straw may be good. The one telltale sign of aspirating is coughs like that, a weak cough. They're coughing because it went down. Remember when we were little, we say it goes down the wrong pipe. It went down the wrong pipe. Trust me on that one. You may need to have a speech therapist come out and assess that, because they can make suggestions for swallowing and to do swallow studies and see if they are aspirating. And there's a product called Thicket. You get it in a pharmacy and you would mix it into liquids almost to a nectar stage, like a thickened liquid. Make light of mealtime. Encourage compliments, stories, music, conversation. Get them not to talk, but you to talk. Because we don't want them really talking a whole lot while they're eating. We want them concentrating on chewing and swallowing. Use contrasting dishes. You're going to have mashed potatoes and cauliflower that day. You don't want to use a white plate. You may want to use a colored plate. You may want to use some adaptive equipment that you can get online, like a plate with a lip all around the side, compartments so they're not mixing them all together. Contrasting bowls also. Plates and bowls with a suction on the bottom of it, so the plate doesn't move all the way around and they're trying to chase the plate around the table. Cups with handles and lids. Bib or a towel in front of them helps, as long as they're not embarrassed by it. Transferring movement and mobility. I'm running out of time here a little bit, but we want to make sure and assess their walking and what they need as far as walking. We want to assess the chair they're in. Are they spending 15 minutes trying to get out of the big, thick recliner that's only a foot and a half off the floor? Well, everybody has trouble with that. So we got to assess this. Again, this is where therapy can come in for us. Get rid of, like I said, the throw rugs, proper fitting shoes, Velcro for the tennis shoes maybe, or elastic laces that stay tied, just slip them on. Hospital bed when that time comes versus a regular bed, which is the most safe for them. Assess for wandering. If they go out the door or whatever, you can register them for safe return at the Alzheimer's services. Locked doors that you don't want them to go right into or out of. You have to find a way to make sure it's a lock they can't reach. They're very, very smart about getting out. I've even seen door covers that made like a bookcase that covers an entire door. Like they think that's not a door they go out of. Or put this as not an exit on the door. And again, home health therapy, assessing the home for safety. Transferring with that adaptive equipment. Do they need a cane, full prong, or a straight cane? Rollator or a regular walker, wheelchair, hospital bed, and then eventually possibly a Hoyer lift. Social events can disrupt their lives. Be careful of them. Holidays, family things, taking them to a restaurant, sometimes it's very frightening. Some family members like them to come stay with them for a while, whatever. That can be very disruptive to them and their daily lives. You may want the family member to come to them and leave them in their environment that they're used to. Sometimes it's very upsetting. And remember, in all of this, laugh, use kindness, and sing songs they know, anything that can help you and them in the long run. Thank you. Any questions?
Recording in progress.
Thank you, Mary Ann. That was such a wonderful presentation. Let me look at the chat box, see what kind of, if we have any questions. If anybody has any questions for Mary Ann, feel free to submit them now. We do have one comment from Rose. She says, I've run across a bowl that has a spoon-sized dip near one edge, works wonders for soups, etc. Goes by the name Hole in a Bowl and is available online. Thanks, Rose. If anybody has any questions, feel free to enter them. But Mary Ann, you did a wonderful job. This was a fabulous presentation and I think helpful and covered so much information. Any suggestions you have, Mary Ann, for sleeping?
The sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
I know I read it all. I have trouble sleeping and I'm the elderly. I know that a cool room is supposed to be really good. We avoid things like antihistamines, Benadryl, and all of that in dementia. Make sure you're not doing that. You can talk to your doctor about a small thing if they're not sleeping and wandering all night and everything. It's almost like a baby. We don't want them to sleep during the day. They're having trouble sleeping at night. So you want to keep them active during the day, whereas possibly they would be tired at night. That may work. Making sure they have night lights and that they're fearful of the night, and maybe a light on in the room if it doesn't bother them. Again, that is another very difficult thing because the medication would be difficult for them to be able to handle. So you would really have to talk to a neurologist or a gerontologist about that, because they would be more knowledgeable about it than just a regular family doctor about what type dementia do you have, what would apply in that. And the wandering, I had one little lady, she just let them wander around the house, but she made sure everything was locked. She made sure she had safety locks on her drawers where the knives were, where anything was that they could hurt. And he just wandered, and there wasn't much she could do. She couldn't afford a sitter. So it's just a very difficult thing. And I can tell you from somebody who would like to get more sleep, you know, sometimes sleeping aids help a little bit. Melatonin, I think, is approved in dementia. You may want to talk to your doctor again about that. Warm milk at night. Some people think the tryptophan in the warm milk helps. So that's about all I have to offer on that.
Thanks, Mary Ann. Actually, melatonin was our second question, so you covered it all in one. And thank you to everyone also that has joined us today for day one in our longest day week program. We'll be back tomorrow with Jean Gatz presenting on taking care of you, but just another huge thank you to Mary Ann. There's so many wonderful comments in the chat, and I'll be sure to share them with her. Just a great presentation. So thank you all for joining us. We hope to see you guys tomorrow.